These are my Clark Kent glasses. Good afternoon, everyone. Because Superman sometimes can't be Superman, so he's got to be Clark Kent. For some of you out there to be able to take Big Silz, this could get a little bumpy. By the way, congratulations, Jalen Hurts, NFC Player of the Week. Wow, fantastic. I got a question for you. And let's start this out here and by the way, I can't believe it. We're already here for week 14 of the NFL. This is crazy. Another shitty Thursday night football game, but I mean, we're now starting to get in to the part of the season where we start putting teams kind of like in playoff order here now, right? Starting to matter here. We're now in December, and if you want to play January football and February football, you got to start playing championship football in December. So let me ask you this, 2017. Just a question. It's not an indictment. It's nothing more than a question. How convinced were you that Carson Wentz was the future of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017 when he was playing MVP football? Just a question. How convinced were you that he was the guy? How convinced? Well, the organization proved it. They gave him the $32 million a year. How convinced were you as a fan that magical season in 17, the way he was playing, he was the guy? Would you say you're more convinced today with Hurts than you were in 17 with Wentz? Or do you think it's comparable? And again, I'm asking a question. I'm asking actually for your help here. Steven, appreciate it. Jeremiah says, I was all in. East Canham goes, where you going with this? No, I asked the questions, and I'll tell you where I'm going here in a minute. Trust me. We are going somewhere with this. Mike says he wasn't sold that Wentz, who was playing MVP season that year in 17, he wasn't sold he was the guy. Okay, Mike. Yeah. Okay. At the time, I was convinced, William. William, I'm not saying no one was. I was convinced. I was convinced. I was too. I was 100% sold that Carson Wentz in 17 was the franchise future of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, Jeb, I'm not talking about really Jalen. I'm asking you more, how convinced were you of Wentz? Were you 100%? Like you are today with Jalen? Sway says I was. Mike goes, I think I was in 17, sold as well. Absolutely more convinced with Hurts. Has risen above adversity since college. So his progression now shows he can do it. Tony, that's a thought-out answer to my question, and you're not wrong. Actually, there's no wrong answer here, except the guy that says, I wasn't convinced. How could you not be convinced? You gave him $32 million annually. How could you not be? The whole entire organization was. The whole community was. The NFL community was. Dan tells us things we don't want to hear, but we need to hear. Speedy, thank you. Actually, it's more just about the story of Hurts' ascent. And how I think the Eagles and the Eagle fans have to be guarded again. Because history is not on the side of Jalen. Can Jalen do things that Brady did and break down barriers and walls? Sandra just said this to me. Silz, what if this guy wins a Super Bowl? We're now talking. Trust me, guys break ceilings. And I have never told you here on this program, is it totally 100% sure that Jalen Hurts is not going to ascend to being one of the great quarterbacks in Eagle history. My problem is, after 12 games, you're starting to compare the kid to Steve Young. You're out of your minds. Relax. Actually, enjoy it a little more. Where I'm going with this is 99% of the people in Philly, 100% of the organization in Philly in 2017 was 100% sold that Carson Wentz was the face of the franchise. And 3 years later, you were booing him at Lincoln Financial, and 4 years later, you kicked his ass out of town. Look how fast that changed. You went from being 100% sold to where he's one of the most reviled guy in Eagle history. Because he never lived up to being what you guys thought he was, because you pushed all your chips in 17 on him. Now, Wentz's personality versus Jalen's personality, all of that plays a factor. Hey, I'm with you on this. I'm going to give a guy like Jalen more latitude to F up than I am Wentz, because Wentz is not a very likable guy. He's got a little Aaron Rodgers quality to him, doesn't he? Doesn't look like he's the greatest teammate. My opinion on Wentz is this. I'm going to show you where I'm going here. Wentz kind of likes half the locker room. You know what I mean? Whereas Jalen likes the entire locker room like Brady does. Okay? I want to ask, we're going to go through a little exercise here. By the way, it's Giants and Eagles week. Mark Bavaro, hour number 2, actually played with the Eagles for 2 years. He's going to join us at 4:30. We're going to talk Dallas Goedert. We're going to talk this great rivalry. I'm going to ask him, who's the better defensive player, too? Reggie White or Lawrence Taylor? He played against Reggie, and he was a teammate with LT. I've never asked my friend Mark Bavaro this question, and we're going to talk to one of the old school tight ends in pro football, part of the Ring of Honor for the New York Giants. We'll talk to Mark Bavaro. That'll be in hour 2 at 4:30 Eastern. One of my favorite football people. Went to Notre Dame the whole 9 yards, and he was a great tight end on what tight ends were asked to do back in the day. So we'll talk to Mark Bavaro in hour number 2 at 4:30 Eastern time. I'm not getting into East Camden. I'm not getting into style of play. I'm not getting into that. I'm getting into if you were sold or not. That in 2017, Carson Wentz. Okay? And you were sold or not was the guy. And pretty much all of you have said that you were. Okay. Let's do a little exercise here. I've got the top 16 highest paid quarterbacks for 2022. And I want to get your sense. The way things are going, player of the week again. He and Michael Vick have more in common. 2010, Michael Vick won the NFC Player of the Week award 3 times too. Interesting. I think that's appropriate too, because they're a lot alike in many ways. Michael Vick's style didn't win shit. We'll see if Jalen can break the glass ceiling. Let's take a look at these top 16 highest paid guys at the quarterback position, and you tell me if you think these deals have panned out and how they've helped the franchise. And let's just see how many of these deals end up delivering and being worth the investment. I thought this would be a cute little exercise. By the way, week 14 of the NFL, Coach of the Year candidates. Defensive Player of the Year, someone asked yesterday. We got him for you. The top 10 picks. The Eagles are in the top 10, by the way, in the 2023 NFL Draft. We'll get to all of that today. We got a boatload of stuff, as I said, Mark Bavaro in hour number 2 at 4:30. Let's get into the highest paid quarterbacks. Number 16, Tom Brady, $25 million. Of course, it's paid off. Tom Brady delivered a Super Bowl in Tampa. There's one. Tom Brady. Plus the money, $25 million. He gave Brady more of a signing bonus. Comes out to around 40. $25 million for Tom Brady. And he's on pace for 5,000 yards this year. And he's still keeping a team afloat. How is that not worth it? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Jason Light, kudos to you for landing Tom Brady. At 44 years old, that deal was worth it. Jimmy Garoppolo, 27.5. He's been to 2 of the last 3 NFC championship games, has been to a Super Bowl, has won an NFC title, and is 45-19, and only makes 27.5. Your wide receiver, A.J. Brown, makes almost as much as him. Completely worth it. You get a quarterback worth 27.5. There's 2. Funny, Belichick drafted both of them. Ryan Tannehill. Since Tannehill's taken over in Tennessee, never had a losing season. He's 36-17. He has the number 1 seed, and he only makes $29.5 million. Is it worth it? Yeah. That's not market value. That's under market value. Matt Ryan, 13, making $30 million. Is Matt Ryan worth it? No. What's Matt Ryan done? I'm talking now, the contract that Matt Ryan has. Matt Ryan got Atlanta to the Super Bowl on this deal. Now, you could possibly say that if you look at the length of the contract, he did get to a Super Bowl. $30 million? The back end of that contract doesn't look very good, does it? You know what? I would possibly say it was worth it because he did get Atlanta on this deal, because this is still the Atlanta deal. So look at this. 16, 15, 14, and 13 have been worth the contracts. 27.5, 29, 5, and 30. Let's keep moving. Carson Wentz, $32 million, the 12th highest paid quarterback in the league. No. Jared Goff, 33.5. Did get to an NFC championship, won it, got to a Super Bowl, actually playing some pretty good ball in Detroit. He's actually playing good football. I mean, he's got that team sniffing a 500 record potentially. Do you think the Goff contract is worth it? 33.5? Think it's worth it? You think he's worth it? 33.5? Did win an NFC title. I'm going to say he was. Kirk Cousins, $35 million. Now we're starting to get up near the big money. What if they won? What if they won in Minnesota with Cousins at that price? What if they won? I don't think so. Number 8, Matthew Stafford. Of course it's worth it at $40 million. He delivered a Super Bowl. even though they're in a shitty year this year, he did exactly what he was brought to Los Angeles to do. He won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl. And by the way, I'm asking you, with these current contracts, with today, have they lived up to their value in return? Stafford, totally. So look at this. $40 million, Stafford, Matt Ryan, Tannehill at 29.5, Jimmy G and Brady have all panned out. Now we get to number 8, Dak Prescott. You think $40 million Dak Prescott has delivered the goods in Dallas? No way. Starting to get a little richer here. At number 7, you think Derek Carr at $40.4 million has delivered the goods for the Raiders? They're underwater. Josh Allen, $43 million at 6. Be careful what you say here because Jalen Hurts hasn't done shit yet either. Josh Allen has to win a Super Bowl. He's in the first year of this contract. So I think we have to wait and see what happens in February. You can't say no yet. He's the number 1 seed right now if the playoffs were to start in the AFC. The Bills are right now, today, the number 1 seed in the AFC. And this is the first year of that $43 million contract annually. I don't know. I think things are on schedule. It's the first year. We're not talking about, okay? And they're winning. And they're winning. The Buffalo Bills today on December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, are the number 1 seed in the AFC. And it's the first year of this big deal. So, right now, he's panning out. Incomplete? Probably more so to that, Peter. Want to be fair here. But you can't say that he's not delivering. He is. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's the first year. Actually, he hasn't even gotten through the first year yet. We still got 5 games to play. He might win the Super Bowl. I picked him to. So Allen, at 43, is doing what he's paid to do. Win ball games. Patrick Mahomes, totally panned out. Totally. $45 million, Super Bowl champion, regular season MVP, Super Bowl MVP, all the division and conference championship games that they've been in. This guy's contract that Lee Steinberg put together has been a gold mine. The Kansas City Chiefs struck gold. Deshaun Watson, a lot of particulars around this. Had to sit out 75% of the season. This is incomplete. We don't know yet. It's the first year of the contract. He's played 1 ball game, and they won. Not great, but they won. So to sit here and say, well, Deshaun Watson, that contract's not, you don't know that yet. And nor do I. Just like at 17 when you thought Wentz was the guy. Remember something, Eagle fans. I will always hold this against you. You thought Carson Wentz was the guy. 99% of you did. I would say almost all of you, including the organization, did. So before you lay out the red carpet here to Jalen, you might want to pump the brakes. Kyler Murray, in his first year, unlike Josh Allen, 46.1. He's probably going to get the general manager and the head coach fired. And they don't have a 500 record. Not off to a very good start. Not off to a very good start. You think they got to return on their investment for the $46 million this year? Absolutely not. Russell Wilson, 49.1. That could go down as the biggest disaster contract in the history of pro football. They will never get the return on their investment for the $300 million they gave Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers, $50 million, 0.3. They're under 500. They're talking to trading him after they gave him that 2-year, $50 million deal. You're not getting a return on investment because you're not winning. So the top 3 guys have failed miserably. Watson is incomplete. Mahomes, at number 7, has panned out. At number 6, Josh Allen. Well, this is the first year of the contract. The Bills are in first place. Playoffs were to start today. They would have the bye. He's on track. At least he's not losing games. And I told you this the other day about Allen. He's turnover machine. His team's the number 1 seed in the AFC. They will have the same thing you will, a bye. You see the difference between winning 13 games or 15 games in the postseason? It won't matter. Covering the Eagles Super Bowl week is good for Dan. That would be awesome. If Hurts were making $40 million this year, it would be categorized as a success. It would be on the same pace with Josh Allen. And if you listen to how I said Josh Allen, he right now, okay, he's on schedule. Success is winning a Super Bowl. And to quote my friend Xander, holding up the NFC title like Donovan McNabb doesn't constitute success. So we still have to wait and see how this finishes. Derek Carr, bomb. Dak Prescott, no turn on investment at $40 million. Stafford could lose the next 2 years. He delivered a Super Bowl. He was brought to Los Angeles to win a Super Bowl, and he did. Cousins, $35 million. What has he done with it? He signed that $87 million contract in Minnesota. What has he done with it? Jared Goff. Jared Goff has actually done more than Kirk Cousins. He's gone further. Wentz, bomb. Eagles gave that guy. The Eagles set up Carson Wentz with generational wealth because they were 100% sold on Carson Wentz. And he's turned out to be the biggest bust in the history of the Philadelphia Eagle franchise. Think about that. You made the highest paid guy in franchise history the biggest bust in franchise history, the highest paid guy in the history of that team. Because you were sold. You were sold the same way you're sold on Hurts. History repeating itself. See, I know how this ends. I know how this ends. But see, unlike the last time, like my wife and my aunt would say, you know, you're going to get right. People are going to, people will fire you or what have you. But you'll be right in the end. So what I'll do is this. I put the Clark Kent glasses on. Some of you can't take it. The majority of this list, the money they gave these players, have destroyed the franchise. Tannehill, GM just got fired. Matt Ryan, look at the Atlanta Falcons now. They're in a complete nuclear rebuild. Carson Wentz. You got a guy making $32 million on the bench in Washington, D.C. Jared Goff. He's on his second team. At least he's starting. And not playing bad. But they're going to make a move for quarterback. Stafford, as I said. It's funny how people, remember last year what people were saying about Matthew Stafford? Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer? He doesn't have a 500 record. How's Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer? That guy is so far from the Hall of Fame, it's insane to think he is. Silz, you see his numbers? Yeah. It's one of the shittiest one-loss records for a starter in NFL history. You at least, I would think, today to get into the Hall, you have to have a 500 record. Why do you think Eli Manning quit? He's at 117 and 117. Prescott. We're going to talk about Dak and Jalen here in a minute. Bro, you got to do something eventually to warrant the money you're getting. You've got to win. Look at the top guys. 50 million. Rodgers, nothing. As a matter of fact, the top three players, look at this. The top three players all have losing records. Actually, the top four. Well, Deshaun, it's not fair. He is 1-0. But the top three players all have under 500 records. Probably a coincidence, right? But you want to pay a guy $50 million. And you think Jalen is going to change what? Sander threw out $40 million. So you're going to pay him the same money you pay Kirk Cousins? Try that with Clutch Sports, my friend. See how that goes. Hurts is a second rounder. Anything he does is icing. You could say about Brady the same thing, too. Hurts is getting $50 million. Be prepared to have losing seasons. Oh, but he'll change it because he's better than Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Kyler. I do think he is better than Kyler Murray. I do. He ain't better than Mahomes, though. He ain't better than Allen. You know the only thing that Jalen Hurts has over Josh Allen this year? He's got a better record. But you won't have any different seeding. You'll have the same home field advantage. Records don't matter in the postseason. Only thing that matters is home field advantage. You could be 10-7 and have home field advantage. It won't matter. You guys are caught up in this record. The record is not valued at $50 million because the records are all going to be subjective. Every year it's going to be different because you're going to lose players. How many people, including myself, thought that Patrick Mahomes would have a dip in offensive production? You think that Jalen Hurts is a guy that's going to be like Patrick Mahomes? Can you name me one wide receiver they have? Jason Kelce. Okay. I didn't really ask for a tight end. I asked for a receiver. Name me one. Juju Smith-Schuster? Who? I'd take Quez Watkins over that guy. Hurts is not better than Josh Allen. There's nobody with any football brains would take him over Josh Allen. No one. Nobody. You could ask 100 NFL executives that question, and you'd be the only idiot saying that. Nobody on the planet would say that. Nobody on the planet would say I would take Jalen over Justin Herbert. Nobody. Not a person in the world outside of Philadelphia would agree with that. My question goes back and circling back. Are you sure, like you were in 17, that Jalen Hurts is the guy? Or are you going to go down the same route that you did with Carson Wentz? Pay him $35 million or $50 million, according to Xander. $50 million. Tear your entire team apart. Is he good enough to carry a football team when you can't keep all the pieces? Aaron Rodgers wasn't even good enough. Mahomes is. Mahomes is. Why do you think they don't have a high-priced running back in Buffalo? Because they're paying a big number for a wideout in Stephon Diggs. They're trying to find a cheap man by committee running game up in Buffalo. Can't pay everybody. Classic. I love it. God, there's so much to get to. You want flash and not rings? No. That's exactly what I'm saying. Michael Vick is flash. Jalen is flash. Lamar Jackson is flash. I want winning championship football. Games that matter. Joe Burrow's been in the game 2 years and is already one of the most accomplished players in the game in freaking Cincinnati. Howie is a way better GM than all those dudes on the other teams. Really, you think really that Howie Roseman is a better general manager and football man than the people they have in Kansas City? Well, you'll have to prove that to me. Because everywhere Andy Reid has been, including your crib and your barn, if you combine what he did in Philly and in Kansas City, don't go there with Andy Reid in Kansas City. Not really. I mean, it's not close. And it was Joe Banner, not that dude. Andy Reid? Really? I don't think so. Quite frankly, not close. Shit, even what they did in Tampa by convincing Brady to go down. Jason Light. I don't know. Jason Light and the Bucks still hanging around. Won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. You were firing a guy you gave $32 million to. And Doug Peterson. And half the roster. Howie, general manager. Howie is a capologist. He's not a talent evaluator. He's good at cutting deals. Not very good at talent. I'll take that back. He's decent at talent. He's decent at identifying. I'll give him this, too. Veteran talent. That I will. But drafting? Hey, kid. This is what I would suggest to Howie. Hey, I got you. Stay in the SEC. Your chances of failure are minimal. If I were you, I'd stay in the SEC and in the southern part of the United States. Stay down there, you're going to be good. Listen to Jeff Stoutland and Jason Kelsey. You're going to have a great O-line every year. Great O-line. Great O-line. Andy Reid's true genius was his ability to identify talent and how to develop that talent in young players. Jim, I think Reid and John Dorsey bumped heads in Kansas City, had to get his ass out of there. I think that's basically the same thing that's happened in Tennessee now with Mike Vrabel and John Robinson. I think that's what happened there. I think they bumped heads. I think Vrabel wanted the power. I think the Adams family decided that they wanted to give Mike Vrabel the say in the team. And you know what else that does? That ensures Mike Vrabel's not going to leave and go somewhere else. Because now Mike Vrabel has the complete power in Nashville to make all decisions on Titan football. And they passed on the general manager. And they gave all the power to the coach, who's the reigning NFL Coach of the Year. And I love Mike Vrabel. Okay? I mean, Mike Vrabel, this was a power. Someone go, how did a guy who had such a great record since 2016 as general manager of the Titans, how did he get fired? Well, power struggles, we see it all the time. One guy wants more autonomy. Did we not? Who won the divorce between Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman? Jeffrey Lurie had to come in the same way that Mrs. Adams, the owner of the Titans, had to come in and say, who am I going with? Am I going with the general manager or am I going with the coach? Look at what Bob Kraft did in New England. Am I going with Brady or am I sticking with Belichick? Flex says they've had time to come up with a game plan for Hurts. The difference between this team and 17 is we got a lot of – you don't have a young core group. Where are you – who's your young core, Flex? Flex, who are your young core? Who are your young core? A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Are you okay to say Jordan Davis? I'll give you Jordan Davis. Mulata? Sure. Dickerson? There's 5 guys. And don't tell me Devonta Smith yet. 400-yard games in 30 games. Let's see a little more consistency. You got 5 young guys on your team that you can circle as core. The rest of them are free agents. And on one-year deals. Your entire front seven is going to look different next year. Your linebacking core could look different. Core. Quez is a dude. Goddard. Absolutely Goddard. Jay Money, appreciate it. Dan, a few minutes late to the show, but I was convinced about Wentz in 17 as I am on Hurts now, which really makes me hope Hurts stays healthy. Don't need another quarterback confidence problem. You're not going to have a problem with Jalen Hurts' confidence. And by the way, Jalen Hurts versus Carson Wentz as men, if you want to make that conversation, it's night and day. You got a grown-up playing the quarterback position. That's why you're going to feel more comfortable giving the money to him. This guy's going to go on Dean on 15 plays. Easy. Let's wait and see. Jurgens hasn't played a freaking full game yet. Easy. Easy. You're talking potential. Potential means this. They haven't done it. Relax. Dickerson, I like. What has Allen won, Danny boy? It's not what I said. Once again, listen to me. This is the first year of the $43 million annual deal. He's not doing anything that's not on schedule. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. Let's see how this plays out. So when you say, are you getting your return on investment with Allen? What more do you want him to do? You just gave him the money. You're the number 1 seed as of December 7th. You can't say that. What has he won? I don't know. We'll find out. This is the first year they're paying him. And he hasn't even gone through the first year yet. He's gone through 12 games. And he's on schedule. See, Mahomes can't fall out of the top 2 because Mahomes has a $500 million deal. You gave Mahomes that $500 million deal, you better be in the AFC Championship game every year. And he is. A.J. Goddard under contract. Smith on the 3-year rookie deal. Three dudes. Busting Jalen's balls? No. Where did you hear me saying that? I actually haven't brought up one thing about Hurts here in a negative way since I opened the show 40 minutes ago. What are you talking about? I'm talking about paying a guy. Be careful what you do. You were sold in 17. You gave the guy the king's ransom, and he shit the bed. Josh Allen is a turnover machine. Listen to what Christopher. Yeah, he's got the number one team in the AFC. Can you imagine when they clean that up, how great it's going to be? You imagine if Jalen Hurts had 19 turnovers, you think the Eagles would be in first place? No. The Bills are. Always. You're damn right. A lot of delusional people in here. A lot of delusional people. Whew. This guy has almost 20 turnovers, and he still got the top seed, and he beat Mahomes. That game last year, Andy Reid thought the Eagles were such a joke, he ran for 200 yards on you. Didn't even need the guy to throw the ball. He ran for 200 yards on the Eagles last year at your own building. Jalen has 3 turnovers. I know. There's no difference. Allen's the top seed in the AFC. I picked Bills and Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm on schedule too. As of December 7th, who would have thunk it? Big Silz is on schedule for my prediction on who's going to play a Super Bowl in Glendale. So you could talk potential, but we can't. What potential? I'm talking about what he's done till December 7th. I didn't say he's lived up to the contract yet. Where did you get that? Now, I just want to say, Hurts is God. Great show. Thank you very much, Emirates. I didn't say that Josh Allen has fulfilled his contract yet. I said he's on schedule. Did you not hear that? He's on schedule. He's 12 games into his new deal, and he's in first place in the AFC. I don't know. There's nothing more he could do. Yeah, but he's not 11-1. Who cares? Home field advantage, get the bye. No one cares what your record is. I've been trying to tell you guys that. Nobody cares. You're looking at you want to pay a guy $50 million because he's won 11 games? You'll be in the same boat you were in 17. Congratulations to you. I'm showing you history. You don't want to see it, though. That's delusional. Knowing what I'm saying to you is facts, and you not believing it is delusional. No. Philly goes, okay, so Dan, what would you pay Hurts? I'm assuming you're saying that. Again, I want to see, and I posted this on my Twitter page. Don't you want to wait until you see him what he does? Here, I'll tell you this. That's a great topic. Because Xander just said, Xander, this is a great topic, Silz. If Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl, it's $50 million. Okay. Let's relent on that. Xander, let's handshake on that. What if he loses the Super Bowl? 40? What if he gets to the divisional round and wins it, the divisional round, to get to the Super Bowl? Divisional. 35? What if they lose their opening round playoff game? 30? What's the pay scale here? So, Jalen Hurts is going to be paid on the type of games that he wins. That's all I'm saying. The dude has 20 TD throws, 9 rushing touchdowns, 3 turnovers. What other quarterback has done that? What does that matter? What does that matter? I saw a guy in Baltimore in 2017 lead the NFL in touchdown throws, winning unanimous MVP, and they got bounced in the opening round of the playoffs. What do you think they were saying in Baltimore about Lamar Jackson? He had 36 touchdown throws. Jalen will not come anything near that. And nor will he come anywhere near being unanimous MVP if he's fortunate enough to even win it. And Baltimore balked. They offered him a contract. They did. But Lamar didn't like the contract. Why? Because they didn't give him the guarantees he wanted. Because why? Baltimore's not sure. Hurts has a better team than Lamar did. That football team went 14-2. They went 14-2, dude. Really? They had 2 1,000-yard backs. They had a tight end that was insane there. They had a defense that was playing lights out. They were 14-2. Jalen's got a better team. "36 touchdown throws." You think Jalen's going to, maniac, you think Jalen gets to 36 touchdowns passing in the next 5 games? Was he at 26? Good luck. Jalen getting unanimous MVP. Never happened. It's the nature of the NFL. Jalen's last 2 games were incredible. Yeah. Never get to 30. Ever get to 30. Let's move on. So the Dallas, here, Christopher, you're crazy. How can scoring touchdowns and not giving the ball up not matter? Because at the end of the day, it's called seeding. No one gives a shit about your statistical year if you don't have home field advantage. Christopher, Allen's turnovers, how will it matter if they have the opening round bye? How will it matter? How will it matter in the landscape of the playoffs if they have the bye? If he has more turnovers? He would have done exactly the same thing Jalen did and securing the most important thing, not your record. You guys are so snow jobbed on this stupid record. This is about home field advantage, not your record. Your record, in many ways, it's not a factor. Home field advantage is the only thing that matters. Like it was in 17 when you had the NFC Championship game go through Philly. You didn't bring up the record? You brought up the turnovers. Who gives a shit if he has the opening round bye? How many turnovers? How many yards that Allen throws for? Does it matter? This is a team sport. Hey, I missed that one there. There you go. Thank you for most of the skilled position players are under contract. Are you kidding me? The running back, really, you think that Miles Sanders is not the second most important player in that offensive huddle? You're crazy. You think A.J. Brown is. You take A.J. Brown out of that offense, that means Jalen Hurts has to carry the ball more. He'll be Lamar Jackson. Be hurt by the end of the year. You're out of your mind. You got a back that's on pace for 1,400 yards. You know how much of the heat he takes off Jalen in that running game? He gives them the affordability. I'll tell you this as a D coordinator. You take Miles Sanders out of there, I don't believe in play action pass. Kenneth Gainwell in Boston. Those guys are dudes. Dudes. Sean goes, Bills just now got the number 1 seed. That's all that matters, dog. Who cares? He's on schedule. He's doing what the Bills have asked him to do. Make them contenders for a Super Bowl. Get home field advantage. They're the number 1 seed. And this is why they're paying him. Josh Allen without Diggs would become a backup quarterback. And what would your guy be without AJ? Oh, I saw it last year. I saw it. The Bucs destroyed him. If it's the one thing the Eagles can do is draft a running back. 2, 3, 4, somewhere in their flex. Not giving up a higher premium than a third. I'm going to go Parcells here. Okay? Flex, I'm going to take a running back. Okay, I'm going to take a running back like 4 down. Somewhere in there. I like the kid from Texas, but the kid from Texas is probably going in the first round. Big Silz, please explain how Allen is over Hurts. He's a better talent. When I watch Josh Allen play versus Jalen Hurts, he's a better player. Any guy with any common sense can see it. Got a bigger arm. He's got better arm talent. He's a better talent. As a matter of fact, that guy, Greg Cosell, actually said that Josh Allen is one of the top 5 quarterback talents he's seen in the last 45 years. Not me saying it, him. I don't remember him saying that about Hurts. Ask Greg Cosell what he thinks of Josh Allen. One of the top 5 talents in the last 50 years. Do you still think Jimmy G is better? He's more accomplished. I think Aaron Rodgers has got more talent than Tom Brady. But Brady's a better quarterback. You can be a better quarterback and out-quarterback the talented quarterback. We see it all the time. I will agree with that about Allen running into defenders. He'll have a lesser career than what Jalen will if they don't straighten that shit up. That I will agree. Josh Allen keeps playing the way he's playing. There is no question, in my opinion, he will not last. He'll be Andrew Luck. He's got a chance to be a Hall of Famer, or he's got a chance to be Andrew Luck. That's my assessment on Josh Allen. He is going to be the best quarterback in the history of the Bills. And that says a lot with Kelly up there. But he's either going to be Andrew Luck or he's going to be a Hall of Fame guy. The fact that Allen doesn't have a Super he just, Christopher, he's in 12 games in to his new deal, and they're in first place in the AFC. What more do you want? He hasn't even fulfilled the first year of the contract yet. So if he wins the Super Bowl in his first year of his contract, or say he even gets there, did he live up to it? Yes. Flex, that argument is flawed. Peyton and Rodgers are better talents than TB12. Oh, I don't think Peyton Manning was. He couldn't jump over a ruler either. Okay? Jim says Josh Allen is obviously more physically gifted, but is more mentally tough. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I did not say. And by the way, do I think that Jalen Hurts is a better decision maker than Josh Allen? Yes. Yes. I'll concede that. Yes. Allen is so gifted. He thinks he can needle it in there anywhere on a football field. Okay? Look at Christopher. Apparently, Super Bowl wins are all that matters to you. Yeah. I was telling my wife this. If you're not playing a sport or you're not playing a game to win the championship, and if you're keeping score, I want to win. Gee, Christopher, so you're the guy that gets participation medals and you think that's cool? Not in my house. My daughter threw a participation medal away. Dad, watch this. It was a 7th-place ribbon. She threw it in a garbage can. Made me cry. I looked at her. I go, man, I love you. She goes, 7th place, Dad. They gave me a ribbon. I told her, if you're not on the podium, don't matter. So my daughter's not on the podium. She don't get first place or second or third place. My daughter doesn't give a shit about it. Well, hey, Dak, well, Jimmy G's always on the podium. He's always, first, second, or third. You're 12 games in to your guy. How did Dak get then? Scott, I don't know. I'm going to get to Dak Prescott here in a minute. Okay? That game on Christmas Eve is going to be for a whole bunch of things. Whole bunch of things. J Money Dan, just wondering, why do you think more talent? Who's more talent? Dan, just wondering, who do you think is more talented between Allen and Burrow? Oh, Josh Allen. Burrow's the better quarterback. Burrow's the better quarterback. But Burrow's got Brady stuff in him. Allen is a freak. He is a gifted. Let me ask you this. You think Jalen Hurts is more gifted than Andrew Luck? Because Andrew Luck and Josh Allen have a lot in common. You think Jalen's a better talent than Andrew Luck? I don't. I surely do not. Jimmy G is in his 9th season. There you go, maniac. I got people comparing Jalen to Steve Young now. Yo, okay. Oh, my God. Over. Wait a minute. Jalen Hurts is better than Steve Young. Andrew Luck's take was crazy. Hey. Andrew Luck is a good football player. What has Luck ever won? Don't really know what he could have did. He retired. The pounding the pounding of running and the pounding of throwing and being the only guy in the building took its toll on Andrew Luck, but it won't on the 600-pound squatter. Got it. Took its toll on Cam, took its toll on Vic, took its toll on Lamar, but it won't on the 600-pound squatter guy. Okay. I know. He's Superman. Oh, agreed. Thank you, Omar. I'm going to take a toll. Oh, no. Dude, I said it 20 minutes ago. Andrew Luck don't straighten that shit out. He'll have a shorter career than Andrew Luck by far. Oh, absolutely. He'll be right in that same room. He'll be calling it a career too. Absolutely. Both guys Andrew Luck and Josh Allen are as gifted as you can ever see. That's Greg Cosell, by the way. Luck and Allen are two of the greatest talents he's ever seen in 50 years. For me, Allen didn't get good till he got Diggs. Absolutely not. Do you know when Josh Allen became a great player? Is when he got better coaching. Think about it. He wasn't a 5-star kid coming out of high school. He sent 350 emails to coaches who snubbed him. He lands in Wyoming. He had one winning season in Wyoming. You think there's any coincidence that he gets around Brian Dable? Gee, I don't know. Brian Dable's made Daniel Jones functional. And he got around good coaching. It's Stephon Diggs. It's better coaching. Josh Allen got better coaching in Buffalo than any place from high school, college. And when he got to McDermott, they gave him the best coaches they could find. Started putting talent around him like they're doing in Philly. Voila. He's the number 1 seed as of December 7th. Diggs! Of course. Because every time they add talent to something, that always translates. Gee, well, let me ask you this. How come Devonta Adams hasn't helped Derek Carr? How come that hasn't worked? Can you help me out? How come the greatest receiver in the league hasn't helped Derek Carr, who, by the way, is 6th on this list at $42 million? Devonta Adams is better than Stephon Diggs. He ain't helped. You can't say it's the Vegas coach. The Vegas coach is 5 Super Bowls with Brady. What could it be? Stephon Diggs is the reason that's making John. Oh, really? Okay. Coaching? No, none of you? Okay. Or why did it help Baker Mayfield? Because Baker Mayfield blows. Derek Carr doesn't stink. He just hasn't helped win games. They're putting up numbers. By the way, Kirk Cousins doesn't stink. They're putting up numbers. Every time they get into critical games, they get destroyed. I'll tell you this. Nobody believes in the Vikings. Nobody. 2 games they were in. Eagles killed them. Cowboys killed them. Because Carr is trash, Jeremy says. Well, $40 million decision you're saying is trash? I happen to agree. Well, the Eagles are on here, too, for a $32 million decision. That quarterback's trash, too. But not Jalen. You were sold at 17, though, that Wentz was your face of your franchise. Were you not? Okay. We're going to hit some topics. Coach of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. Also, top 10 NFL picks. Eagles are in there. And in this hour at 4:30 Eastern, one of the truly legendary New York Giants. And he actually played a couple years in Philly. Mark Bavaro. I want to get his thoughts on today's tight end. What he thinks of Dallas Goedert, too. We'll get his thoughts. That'll be 4:30 Eastern time. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.